Welcome to another video. How to declutter your mind. Nowadays we are super busy. There's lots of stuff that we do. There's endless to-do lists. There's family. There's bills. There's vacations to be planned. There's all kinds of things that we need to do, and during all this stuff it looks like, there's just so much in our head that our head just keeps kind of incessantly talking. So to this video there's kind of a two-part answer. The first answer that I want to look at is there's a practical aspect where basically your mind is trying not to forget things, and it's trying to rehearse and make sure, oh, I have everything and I have to do this and I think about that and all of that, because we have no kind of a reliable system where we are holding our ideas and things in place, so when we do need them we can go and check there. Instead we're trying to keep it in our head. So the very practical answer to that is to actually start writing things down and put it somewhere where we compile things in an organized manner that we can go and look at. That's kind of the simple answer. The more deep answer that I'd like to look at today in more depth is when our minds really fill up with lots of things and they're usually not that important. So I give you an example. I fucked up with a company. I made some stupid mistake and suddenly my head is spinning trying to fix it all, and I'm losing sleep at night and my head is spinning more and more and faster, and there's all those thoughts that come into my head. The way that it looks to me at this point is that the mind is trying to fix something. The mind is trying to make you feel okay. And in order to do that, it has to deal with the cause that's causing you all this emotional turmoil. So if you fucked up and you have made a mistake with a company, that looks to your mind like that needs to be fixed, that needs to be gone, so that you can feel at ease again. And if you look at it that way, if this is how the world occurs to you, then it makes perfect sense that your mind is spinning. It makes perfect sense that your mind tries to get everything together and find solutions and all of that. And it's overthinking basically. The good news is though that this is not how the mind works. This is not how our reality works. Feelings are not coming from the fuck up. It may look like they're coming from the fuck up, and don't get me wrong, most of the time it looks like my feelings are coming from somewhere outside of me, but they aren't. And that's good news. And that's the key to declutter your mind, is to realize that at deeper and deeper levels. To realize where your experience is actually coming from, that your experience is not telling you about the fuck up. It's not telling you about your personality. It's not telling you about your job. It's not telling you about your spouse. It's not telling you about your future. It's not telling you about your past or anything else that you can think of. Your feelings are only ever telling you about one thing only. You can imagine it's like in a car. When you look at the car, you have all the different kind of systems that track different things. And so for one thing that in the car is the gas. How much gas you have in the tank. And that shows with the dial. Then you have another thing, which is the speed, right? And if you would mix those up, it would get confusing. It wouldn't be useful. Suddenly you're like, oh, I'm driving as fast, but no, actually it's the gas. It's like gas going up and down. No. Or if they try to do it a system is good and reliable if it's telling you about one thing, like in the car. So what do feelings actually tell you about? They only tell you about one thing, and one thing only ever, and that is about your internally created reality. They're telling you about thought in the moment. What's running through your thought system. I don't mean what you're thinking about, I mean the totality of your experience. Because the experience we're walking in is created moment by moment. So when our head fills up, it fills up because we are in a misunderstanding of where our experience comes from. It's that simple. And when we start to see that what the mind is trying to do is actually an impossible task because the feelings are not coming in the first place from that place, and that we are always okay no matter what kind of feelings come up, the mind can stop. And that's what I've seen in myself, is that when I have those moments where I insightfully realize where my feelings are coming from, the mind goes quiet. It's just my experience. It's my experience with myself. It's the experience with my clients. And guess what? That's actually where solutions come from. They come from this silent place. They don't come from this super busy mind. They come from silence. They come from within. You can look at peak performance, sports. They're in the moment. They're in flow. They're not like, ah. No, they're in flow. That's where the answers come from. So if you have a problem with super busy mind, it's usually not that helpful. Now, it doesn't mean that it cannot come up. It totally can come up in a busy mind as well. But the tendency is that we get the best ideas when we have nothing on our mind. And so it's so simple that you think, well, wait, there must be more to it. No, there is not more to it. The problem is just that we think we understand when we actually don't. Because just understanding something intellectually on a conceptual level, we miss the point. We miss the point. It's like an alcoholic who drinks. And he says, oh, alcohol's not good for me, and he drinks. I should really stop this. He drinks. The alcoholic says, well, it's not good for me and I should stop and all of that. He hasn't really seen that if his behavior is still displaying going to the bottle and drinking. So when I say insightfully realize, insightfully understand where your experience comes from, I'm not talking about just having a conceptual idea in your head. That's fairly, it's okay, but it's otherwise quite useless. What I'm talking about is about this embodied understanding. Because when you see it, it just doesn't make sense anymore to keep thinking and do all kinds of crazy stuff in your head. It just doesn't. So how do you get that? How do you insightfully realize where your experience comes from? Well, first of all, one thing is you watch those kind of videos or read some kind of books that point in this direction. But ultimately, it comes from within you. It comes from when you go into that reflective space. It comes from you listening more deeply. Because when we are listening and we hear something new and fresh, that can change our entire life in a moment. It can change our entire perspective. So that's why I made this video about listening. Because it's so important. It can literally change your life. Just like that. And so when you engage with this kind of material, the deeper you listen, the more open you are, the more you absorb it. And by absorbing it, I don't mean necessarily just thinking about it and making sense of it. It's like this kind of openness, listening for feeling, listening more deeply than ever before. That's where actually change comes. When you see, when you have an insight, that's what happens to change you, your life, other people's lives. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, share it, like it, whatever you do, I don't really know. Anyways, I enjoyed having you, and I am looking forward to see another video. Take care.